My new book, Pillars for Life, A Guide to Spiritual Ethics and Practice, is now out and available for you to read and purchase. You can check out our website, willowhealing.org, to find a link, or you can find it on Amazon. We look forward to getting your feedback, and if you love it, please leave a review and share with your friends. Now it's time for the show. Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul. Hey everyone, it's Catherine Cristani with another episode of Willow Healing Matters, and today I am joined by Michael Murphy, creator of the Creation Frequency, and his inspiring story is he went from rags to riches and everything in between. From a restless youth facing multiple arrests, his tenacity led him down the path of becoming an acclaimed self-made entrepreneur. Wall Street Journal bestselling author, speaker, and philanthropist, passionate about helping others use law of attraction technology, physical detoxification, and meditation to become their best selves. Mike has spent over 30 years creating the perfect recipe for manifesting your dreams, the creation frequency. Forget anything you've heard about law of attraction in the past, because his remarkable project offers the evolutionary approach to achieving total transformation with Mike's unique technology, an app with a relaxation script that takes users on trance journey straight into their subconscious mind where all real power resides. For 30 years, Mike has been unlocking his personal creation frequency and transforming it into tangible success. His business enterprises have generated millions of dollars in revenue, which also helping people live more fulfilled lives because they chose battling against illness or addiction, or anyone looking to reach a deeper understanding within themselves. Now he devotes himself full-time to ensuring that all who seek an improved life can find the path towards reaching their goals. In 2012, he established the Love from Margot Foundation as a tribute to his beloved late wife. She courageously fought cancer for 9 years until her passing in 2011. It's through this foundation that her memory lives on by helping underinsured and low-income women facing advanced cancer with financial aid, education tools, and resources needed during treatment. And he also has another special project which he's going to share with us today. So a big welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much, Catherine. Appreciate it.
You have been on quite a journey.
I sure have.
So I guess the first question that pops into my head is, with the law of attraction work, at what point, during that early part of your journey where, life just, well, you weren't taking the most of life, right? Like you were taking advantage of it, I suppose, and just thinking life had lumped it. What led you down to a different path?
Yeah, it was just a super lucky break. I was around 24, 5 years old, and I was in a 12-step meeting, and a buddy of mine said, "I've never met anybody as screwed up as you, but I might know somebody that can help you." And he introduced me to a gentleman named Doug Fitzgerald. And when I wrote my first book, Love Unfiltered, I couldn't even remember his name because I had this experience in 1982 and I published that book in 2014. When I wrote that first book, I'm going to tell the story, but I don't remember his name. Subsequently, I hired a private investigator and found him, and he had passed away. So I found his son, and he told me his background because I didn't ask any questions. This man just really taught me how the law of attraction really works, and it was very, very simple. And he said, "Mike, you come here 1 hour a week for 7 weeks, and I promise you'll get everything you want in life. And by the way, it's $50 a week." And I didn't have 50 cents. But fortunately, in 1982, we all had a checkbook. And so I just wrote him a bad check and we took care of it later. But here's what he said in a nutshell. He said, "Listen, first of all, you have to create a balanced life. So we have to break your life into six different areas. You have family, you have career, you have money, you have personal development, you have health, all that kind of stuff." And he said, "Okay, so what do you want most in your life?" I said, "Well, 2 years ago, I walked out on my 2-month-old baby and her mother, my wife, and I abandoned them. And I tried to get back together, and she wanted no part of that. She hates my guts, but I want to get my wife and my daughter back." So he said, "Okay, let's write an intention as if it already exists, because there's no difference between imagination and reality." And so I'm sitting there at his kitchen table and just a white piece of paper with a pencil, and I start writing, "Lisa and I are so happily married." Now, I know she hates my guts and it feels weird, okay? But I'm writing and I just get a little glimmer of hope. So I continue. Our daughter, Michelle, thrives in this marriage. And I wrote about one or two paragraphs. And next week, what do you want, Mike? I want to own my own business. Next week, I want to make $10,000 a month. Next week, I want to own my own house. Next week, I want to run a marathon. And he said, the sixth one has to be contribution. So you have to give back. So I said, well, let's create a home for troubled youth, because I was one, my dad was one, and my heart goes out to that. And so, but the magic was in the seventh week. In the seventh week, he brought out a boom box for you younger people, and you too, Catherine. That's what we used to listen to music on. And he put in a cassette tape with theta brainwave frequency music. Okay. Then he brought out a tape recorder with a blank tape in it and handed me a microphone, and he handed me a relaxation script. Now, he just said, read the relaxation script, read your six intentions while the music's playing. And I did. And he pops out a cassette tape. It has a relaxation script with theta brainwave music playing in the background and my six intentions. And he says, I want you to listen to this every morning right when you wake up. And I want you to listen to it every night right before you fall asleep. And that's what I did. So I left there 7 weeks later, $350 poor, with a cassette tape and some simple instructions. Now, what I know now, I didn't know any of it at the time. I just followed the simple instructions. And by the way, 2 years later, that woman that hated my guts called me up and asked me to escort her to a Christmas party. We ended up getting remarried and having 3 more beautiful children. I've owned 4 months later, I owned my own business. I owned a restaurant. I've owned my own business ever since. A couple of years after that, I bought my first house with no money down. I've owned many, many houses since then. I've made a lot more than $10,000 a month. So it works. And so why does it work, right? A couple things are going on there. One, when I'm listening to that, so the purpose of the theta brainwave music and the relaxation script is to put me in a self-hypnotic trance, okay? Because this is how we program the subconscious mind. When we were children, from actually the last trimester in the womb up until about 7 or 8, we are in a self-hypnotic trance. We're in theta state. Our brain, we're not conscious, right? We have this theta brainwave. So we learn by watching, listening, absorbing what mom and dad say, what comes out of media, siblings, playmates, school, right? And that's how we learn. That's how we're programmed to survive in this crazy world, right? And so I didn't know any of that. But what I know now is that when I'm listening to this, I'm piercing, I'm going from the conscious mind into the subconscious mind, and I'm reprogramming that to what I really want, my desires, not the desires that my parents wanted for me. And I'm also activating my reticular activating system, which is the part of our brain that, let's say, for example, you decide you want a new Tesla, okay? And pretty soon you're gonna be driving down the freeway and every car is a Tesla that you see because you've told your brain what to look for, right? So I'm telling my brain what to look for. I'm telling my subconscious mind what to look for. And here's the difference between the subconscious and the conscious, right? So the subconscious right now, yours, mine, we're taking in over 1 million bits of data every second. That's how powerful the subconscious mind is. And it doesn't judge, and it wants to serve us. And then it delivers up to 40 bits of data to the conscious mind, because that's all the conscious mind can handle. So that subconscious mind is going through all these million bits of data, looking for data to reinforce my belief system or what I desire, right? So if I walk around all day and say, man, my life sucks, nothing ever goes right for me, I'm a loser, right? That subconscious mind doesn't judge. It's going to look for reinforcing concepts or ideas or events and give them to my conscious mind to reinforce that belief system. So what I'm doing by reprogramming the subconscious mind, telling my reticular activating system what I want, is making it easier to manifest. But I believe there's more going on there. Now with the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, the field of infinite possibilities, and I really believe in the power of sound. You know, the Bible says, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it says that God spoke this world into existence. He said, let there be light, and there was light. The power of sound and frequency. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, it's energy, vibration, and frequency, right? And what's more powerful than sound? So every morning, every night, that sound is going into the field of infinite possibilities. And if I'm vibrating at a high frequency, because all those intentions had a lot of love and contribution and gratitude to them, right? So that's a high frequency. So they go into the field of infinite possibilities where they match up with maybe the right book, the right person, the right funding, and then everything comes to us. And instead of swimming upstream, now I can just jump into the river of life and let it go. And then these things show up. Now, that sounds pretty simple and easy, and it can be at times, but it can be a bit of a challenge too, until you get really good at it, and then it becomes pretty easy and simple, and it works. And that because everything in your physical 3D reality started as a thought, a desire, and emotion,
Yeah.
right? And that's how it comes. That's how everything is created here. Everything is created here with our mind. And I don't even know if this is real anymore. The older I get, I don't know if this. I don't even know if this is a video game or a simulation or a 3D reality or
The
virtual reality.
Matrix.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm getting more confused every day. But I do know this, that when we learn the act of being able to manifest what we truly desire, then life takes on a whole nother meaning and we can do great work for humanity.
There's so much in there I want to unpack, Mike, and I love that story for you so much. And you say that this it was by luck that that person showed up. I always say, no, that's an angel sent to you, right? That's and you have to be open to it. But this is what happens, like when you're meant to realign and when you're meant to find a new path. Like you said, even with programming what you want, your intentions and things like that, you have to then be open and start looking for the signs that feedback that that's happening. And that's why it's so important to reprogram the reticular activating system. That's a mouthful this morning. Because, like you said, you were listening to it first thing when you woke up and just before you went to sleep. And a lot of people don't realize that is when your brain can kind of take in the most. It's like
Yeah,
when you wake up.
and
Yeah.
that's also when you're asleep, you're in delta, and when coming out of delta, and you're in theta. So I'm in that. That's the best state to be in for manifesting what we want. And after that is alpha, and right now you and I are in beta, and then there's gamma. But so yeah, that's the why he said that. First thing in the morning, last thing at night.
Yeah, exactly. Often, when people have dreams and you wake up and if you don't write them down straight away, you lose it. And that's the whole point. Like the first thing you do is you wake up and you listen to it because then it's already programming you for the day and then it's setting that intention for the day. I wake up and I say my gratitude when I wake up in the morning. So
Yeah.
it's resetting. Yeah, exactly. So,
What I used to do, and what most of us still do, is we reach for the damn telephone. And that's the worst way to start the day because that puts you right back into you're never going to change. You're right. You're going to say, I love Dr. Joe. He says, if you want to change your personal reality, you need to change your personality. Well, if I do the same thing every day, nothing's going to change in my personal reality. So I have to change what I do, what I think, what I feel, and then I can change my life.
100%. And it's so funny because I was just talking to a friend and she just went to Joe Dispenza's workshop and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm taking you next year. Can you come to Mexico? And I was like, I'm not saying no. Let's see if we can create that. It was and I feel that's the biggest thing. Like you said, you don't even know what's real and what's not real anymore. And sometimes the most amazing things happen and you have to acknowledge them and just accept that, miracles can happen right in front of you if you align with where you're meant to go. And like you said, if you're serving at the highest and greatest good, we're meant to be in a natural flow of abundance. We're meant to be able to thrive because it's when we're thriving that we can then serve to our fullest rather than worrying about whether or not we can pay the next
Right.
bill that comes in or even feed our family, which is the
Yeah,
biggest thing.
exactly.
So I love that you then created like all these different things. And so now you've created Mountains of Hope. So do you want to share with everyone a bit about what this foundation is? Because it's really special in itself,
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, I'm sitting here right now and I'm looking out the window, and we're 7,000 feet in the Andes Mountains. We have 20 acres here. It's probably the most beautiful place I've ever been in my whole life. And I've been all over the world from Santorini to Hawaii to India. It's just stunningly beautiful. And because we're so high up and we're so close to the equator, the temperature is the same every day. It's 55 to 75 degrees every day. And so basically, we are a healing resort and we are small boutiques. We have 12 bedrooms, 18 beds. And we're doing a lot of work with cancer patients right now. And we're having a lot of good success. So I'm super excited about what's happening here and what we're accomplishing. And we have a beautiful, loving staff. I always say that, this is a place for healing. And if the beautiful nature, God's nature doesn't heal you, the love of our staff will. We have 30 amazing people working here would just pour their heart and soul into our guest healing experience. And what makes us unique around cancer and autoimmune diseases as well, we have a relationship with a doctor in Medellin, and he works with the National University of Columbia. And he's been growing natural killer cells for people for 7 years. We've been doing it for almost a year now. And what are natural killer cells? So in your immune system, you have white blood cells, you have T cells, and you have natural killer cells. And so when a guest arrives here, and the cancer patients come for 3 or 4 weeks, and I'll explain why in a second. But the first thing that we do when they arrive is we take a lot of their blood, we give it to the scientists, and then they separate the plasma from the NK cells. Then they put the NK cells in a very, very rich culture, and they start harvesting and growing them for 3 weeks. And over those 3 weeks, they're going to yield 400% more natural killer cells of that person's
And then
own
natural.
natural killer cell system. During those 3 weeks, we're doing a super detox. We have so many modalities for detox here. We have hyperbaric chambers, we have IVs, we have colonics, we have ozone therapy, we have acupuncture. One of our doctors is Chinese medicine, the other one's a functional doctor. And then we have all the biohacking stuff from exercise with oxygen therapy, PEMF, shift wave chairs, red light therapy, biochargers. And then we have an infrared sauna from Finland. And we spend 15 minutes in there. We jump in the cold plunge, and we do that 3 times. It really stresses the mitochondria, really gives the body a lot of energy and strengthens the immune system. At the same time, we grow 150 different fruits and vegetables here. And our agronomist he's a PhD, and you'll never meet a sweeter person. But he's out there. He literally takes kefir, which is yogurt, and puts it on the potatoes because the bacteria in the kefir helps the potatoes grow better. And we use no chemicals, no fertilizers, no glyphosate, and our soil is really, really good. It's virgin
It's the
soil, it's very,
Andes.
very rich and full of minerals. And so while we're detoxing the body, we're giving them amazing nutrition. They start to feel. We had a woman come here. Her ex-husband flew her here. He said she might die on the plane. She might die when she's there. She shows up in a wheelchair, could barely get around. And 3 weeks later, she's running around. And what's unique about her story is that, one, she's still alive, and she probably came here 3 or 4 months ago. But what was unique is she has these turbo cancers, right, which a lot of people are getting right now.
Mhm.
And so we have her take her to the oncologist. He said, "Man, I'm sorry, you're doing amazingly well. You're getting stronger, but we can't stop this damn tumor from growing." And he says, I'm concerned about that. So one of our doctors found 2 death doulas. They came up here and they did a 10-hour death psilocybin ceremony with her. And
Wow.
I ran into the next day and she said, "Mike, that was the most amazing experience of my life. And I don't care about the physical anymore. I've healed mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I'm all good, whatever happens." And now we see her on Instagram, water skiing, surfing. She got to go to one of her son's weddings. So that's what fills my heart and we have a bunch of stories like that. And the other thing we do is we have Western medicine, Chinese medicine, functional medicine, detoxification, great nutrition, but we also do indigenous ceremonies. So we have a sweat lodge here. We have cacao ceremonies. We have a fire forgiveness ceremony. We do psilocybin ceremonies. Once in a while, we'll do ayahuasca ceremonies. So we're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at these folks to find what's going to work for them so they can find their healing. And that's what I love about Dr. Joe. And we do a healing coherence ceremony for them, which Dr. Joe does in his retreats. And we're having amazing experiences there. So it's just exciting to be doing this work. And I'm blessed to have this. So I'm very grateful.
It's amazing, Mike, like that you've created a facility that pretty much blends like Western medicine breakthroughs, but you actually address the underlying things to get the body ready so it has maximum impact. Because so often with chemotherapy and radiation, people don't realize you are killing the cells that you need to fight the rest of the things, right?
Exactly right.
So this is
And that's why it comes back a lot with vengeance, after a few years. I mean, it
exactly.
definitely shrinks the tumor, but the stem cells of the cancer still remain. And it's just a matter of time because the immune system is getting destroyed with the chemo as well. So when it does come back, they're very I mean, my wife was diagnosed at age 29 with stage 3 breast cancer. And I found the tumor right here. And all we had to do is shrink that tumor. But after 9 years of cancer treatment, everything in her body was destroyed. I mean, they put a port to drip chemo into her cerebral spinal fluid. I mean, she couldn't defecate the last 3 months of her life. They had to drain her lungs, once a month. I mean, it was insane what we went through, right? But I'm grateful she fought like that because I'm grateful for every extra day she was alive, even as difficult it was for her and me. And on December 1st, 2010, The oncologist said, Margot, unfortunately, the cancer spread to the lining of your brain. If you do nothing, you have 6 weeks to live. And if you treat it, you have 6 months to live. And she was only 37 years old. And so we didn't even talk about it because we knew I've never met anybody in my whole life that wanted to live and enjoyed life as much as her. So we just fought like hell for those 6 months. But every day she fought like hell to live. And every night she prepared to take that last breath. We listened to Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls, and what happens after you leave your body. So when she did take her last breath, there was no one as prepared as anybody that to go and leave her body. And I've had so many mystical experiences since she's left that are really kind of hard to believe. But that's why I really have no fear of death. I look forward to leaving my body. But with that said, I'm still here.
You've got a
So
lot of work to
that's
do
something to
still.
do or something to learn. So
Yeah.
I'm not in a hurry to get out of here, but I look forward to that day.
Yeah, I'm the same, Mike. Like, there's you don't have to be fearful of death. It's instead you don't want to die. It's a very different feeling. It's really hard to explain to people.
Yeah.
And I think we're really blessed as humans that now you've created from watching your beloved wife go through all of that. And now you've created this beautiful offering so people have the chance to heal. And I also love that you've created it in such a way that it's not just the body, because so often people don't realize the body is the last expression of what's happening with us. You have to go deeper and you have to go to those emotions. You have to go to the mental things. And my coach asked this question, he's like, how have you co-created your reality? And it goes back even to that law of attraction, right? Like, because somewhere inside us, deep down, there's something that created that, and that's how it came out, whether it's through cancer or something in our body or something happening like that. And it's really interesting when you start to unpack that.
Yeah, I love that you said that because listen, I created this intention to create mountains of hope. And it's currently nothing what I intended because I am co-creating this with the creator of all that I call God. And so when I let go of the outcome, I create the intention and I'm as specific as I can be. But when I let go of the outcome, it comes out 10 times better.
Yeah. And it's, yeah, I'm like in awe of what you've created. And I feel like when people leave you, whether they're cured or not cured or whatever is happening, they have a new lease on life because, like you said, they're balanced. Like that beautiful lady you were sharing, they found new emotional and spiritual parts of themselves that they never knew existed. And then they get to live every day to the fullest at the end because they realize what's important.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of what we're doing here because we also do yoga, breath work, meditation, but we work with the physical is one thing, right? But there's the mental, the mindset, and I find that people that have difficulty healing, they can't let go of the story, and they have this continuous loop of the story, and the story's not a good story. So we really, really work on getting them out of their head and nudging them gently into their heart, which we need to heal and start opening again. Because as life goes on, we get hurt, we build walls around our heart, and pretty soon there's no room to live. So we flee to here. And when we live here, this is an insane asylum. And
Yes, it is.
but when we get out of here and we get into the heart and we're living from here, then we can use this supercomputer to manifest what it is we truly desire. And at the end of the day, not one person has come here and not have some sort of healing experience, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. And really, I think our biggest thing that we do here is once we nudge them back into their heart, then they reconnect with their soul, their source, and everything changes. And so it's just exciting to see.
Yeah, and I feel that's such an important point you brought up too, because so often we've been so conditioned to think with our head first and let the head rule the way. But the head's only doing, and this is why I love the work of Dr. Joe as well as the Heart Math Institute, because they've actually proven now you have more decision-making receptors in your heart and your gut than you do in your head,
Amen.
significantly more. So we need to start going back to listening to our heart first and tuning in with what we really want. And if people are like, but how do you know? The voice is different. That's the only way I
Exactly.
can describe it.
And the feeling, Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. I say, no, I feel, therefore I am. And we're taught as men not to feel. Okay. I mean, talk about, cutting off our core power. And you bring up the gut because most people's guts are ruined. So we do a lot of gut healing here because the gut, 90% of the serotonin is created in the gut. And most people, if you have a leaky gut or you have a bad gut, you're going to have brain fog. And so once we clear this up, then this works better, then everything starts to go. Because it's the gut, the heart, the third eye, the pineal gland, and the mind. And when we get all that aligned and we get grounded to Mother Earth, and we get everything lined up and we get centered and heart based, life becomes very much easier. It's still difficult, but easier.
And as we start to finish our time together, Mike, I could talk to you about so many things. As we start to finish our time up, I ask the guests that come on the show, if you could heal or change something in the world, what would it be?
Greed. And everybody's chasing something that's never going to fulfill them. And I'm so tired of this Instagram stuff, right? Because listen, humanity is in serious trouble right now. I have 4 kids, 8 grandchildren. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was in Germany in World War II, could have left, stayed, and was hung trying to help people. Right? And he said that a righteous man lives for the next generation. And if we don't start getting together, the powers that be want to divide and conquer us, and they got us fighting over everything. Gay, straight, black, white, Christian, Muslim. I mean, and then they subdivide those groups now. Transgender, this, that. And listen, we're all one mind, okay? And we're all one heart, and we're all connected, and we're ruining this home called Earth. I mean, we're literally ruining it with everything that's going on in the world. And if we don't get together and realize this, I mean, it's going to break, and it's breaking now, and it's getting crazy and chaotic. And so I think the one thing would be to wake people up to realize that we're all in this together. And if we can unite, we can change everything. There's allegedly 8 billion people in the world. If 4 billion of us would lift up someone less fortunate than us, this whole paradigm would shift and consciousness would rise through the roof, and we would usher heaven back on the earth. Now, that's a big job. And I think what's going to really happen is the old paradigm, and we're going to have two worlds. We're going to have one based on the old paradigm. It's going to be destroyed and destructed. And then we're going to create a new world based on love, consciousness, unity, gratitude, and integrity and unity.
Yeah, I so agree with everything you said there, Mike, like 100%, because, there is this need for division and control and using fear, whereas, when you step out of that, you actually realize that it's all like tools to manipulate people and tools to keep people separated, exactly like you said. And I'm with you as well. There's going to be 2 worlds, the old paradigm and the new paradigm, because, people talk about this new earth and all this stuff. It's like, no, we're still going to be here. It's just, you're just in a different frequency. You're just working from a different paradigm, and stop trashing it because there's no new planet. It's like, because I meditate a lot with Mother Earth and we do some healing and things like that, because it's so important to actually be connected with. And I feel a lot of people need to remember we are nature as well, because
we come from that, and we
exactly. And then, you can fully appreciate the beauty and the wonder of that too, and come back to that childlike innocence, because we've lost that as well. And if people want to find you or they want to come look up Mountains of Hope, where's the best place they can go?
So a couple things. You can go to mountainsofhope.com, and actually on the website is my cell phone number, so if you can call me there. Or you can go to mikemurphyunfiltered.com, and that's where I have my online course, my books, and all that kind of stuff. And then I would like to give a gift to your audience that if they send me an email, I have it on. The Creation Frequency is a book, and it was published in 2018, and it's a very well-read book, and a lot of people have benefited from it. But along with that, I created an online course. I think we sell it for $97 or something like that. I would give it to your listeners for free. All they have to do is send me an email, mike@mikemurphyunfiltered.com, and just say, hey, can you send me the course? And I'll send it to them, and they can take the course. And this works. And it's really good for younger people too, that are just getting started, to understand how this works, right? So I'd be happy to do that.
Amazing. I'll make sure to put all that in the show notes as well, Mike. But thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And thank you for creating Mountains of Hope, because it's so needed in this world, more places like that, because it's just bringing together everything, which is how I see us moving forward into the new world as well.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.